My big success story was when I published my first book. I recovered 100% of my investment and earned double the amount I had spent on it. Hi, I'm Vandana Sehgal. I'm an author, teacher, and a book writing coach. Today, I will share my process from being a writer to a published author and how I created another stream of income through my writing. After I wrote my first book, many aspiring authors approached me to understand my process. Why me? Because I managed to promote and publish my book for Indian readers without even traveling to India. During COVID, when people called me to understand my process, I broke the whole step of marketing, writing, or publishing of a book into simple 6 steps. They found their dream of writing doable and being published achievable. I received a common feedback from most of those people. They said, "You made the process so simple and easy for us that it doesn't feel scary." For your benefit, the complete information is divided into a series of 6 videos. This will provide you in-depth information and will resolve most of your queries. As a reminder, the stages are divided between the writer and the publisher. The 6 stages are writing, editing and beta reading, layouting, printing and publishing, distribution, and finally sales and marketing. In today's video, the focus will remain on the art of writing, and the topics we will discuss are: what is your purpose of writing? Who is your target audience? And what are the 3 topics you can write upon? Now that it is established that writing a book is your goal, you need to have a clear understanding of your inner motivation. Here we are talking about thousands of words, hundreds of pages, days, weeks, or months of writing. In the process, life might take a priority, or you might not feel like writing. Procrastination can take over you. And you need to have a reason to come back to your table and start writing. Your why would be one strong reason to bring you back to the process of writing. So here is a simple thing that you need to do. You have to sit down and write about 2 important things. 1, your primary objective, and 2, your secondary objective. When I wrote my first book, I Love Myself, I failed to define my objective. And here is what that happened. For 2 months, I was stuck. I couldn't finish the book. I couldn't write the book. Hundreds of pages were printed and were lying on my table, and I didn't know what to do with them. And then finally, one day, after 2 months of just sleeping on it, I saw these pages and I asked myself, why did I write this book? And there it was. I got my reason, I got my drive, and I went and I completed the process. I didn't do that mistake with my second book, right. I answered my questions, I wrote my primary objective and my secondary objective. Here is my second book that was published, Right. And in this process, I have written that what my primary objective was. My primary objective of writing Right was to make the process of writing fun, fulfilling, upbeat, and nurturing for every writer. And my secondary objective was to launch myself as a book writing coach. Now it's an exercise for you. Take your time, then take a deep breath and answer these 2 important questions: your primary and your secondary objective. Once you are done, post them in front of your computer. so that whenever you feel procrastinated or you don't feel like, you can go back to it. The next step into the journey of writing is to know your reader. The detail you are in sketching your reader, the better grip you will have on your content. You would know what kind of examples to include, what kind of language to introduce, to elaborate or keep it basic, how many number of pages you need to include when you know what kind of reader you have. If it's a children's book, then you need to understand your reader clearly, because that will define the quality of the visuals that you are going to put into that book. Let's perform a simple exercise. Just close your eyes and imagine that your book is already published. It's in a store and there is a person who is holding that book and flipping through the pages. Just visualize who that person is. How does that person looks? What kind of clothes they are wearing? What kind of likes or dislikes he or she may have? What is the profile, the age of that person? What is the gender? Where that person is living? The next step. The third question you need to answer is to understand what are the topics you are going to include in your book. You have to define only 3 topics that will be part of this book. Anything more than 3 can lead to confusion and will not connect easily with your reader. You can always assume that your book is already published. This will help you to define the 3 topics that are included in the book. So let's imagine your book is already published and here is someone you have to tell what are the 3 takeaways they will receive from your book. You can always start by saying, I read this book by, say your name, and the book revolves around 3 topics. Just list them down on a paper and you can keep referring to them throughout your writing process. When I wrote my children's book, I decided the 3 topics that I am going to include in it are: number 1 is to stand up against bullying, number 2, express emotions, and number 3 was to respect others. Now it is your turn. Maybe you want to tell a friend of yours or just write on a paper. Do this simple exercise and get clarity on the topics that you are going to put in this one book. That is the wrap up of stage 1, which was writing. In this, I spoke about the purpose of writing, your audience, and the 3 topics to include. Next time, in video 2, I will talk about editing and beta reading. So grab a notebook and start answering the questions already stated in this video. I will see you in your next masterclass.